Hello and welcome to Expeditions Rome. I'm Shadow Coast and welcome to the channel. I wanted to post a video on Legion combat because it can appear a little confusing at first. So we are using or playing the demo to demonstrate this. There are a few spoilers to the early part of the game. So if you want to come in completely with no spoilers, please stop watching this video. That is my one and only warning before we jump
Son.
in because we are using the demo to demonstrate how Legion combat works. Now, before we can deploy our Legion, we need a Centurion to lead our team. When we go to our Legion camp on the map, which is fairly evident, we have a tent here, and at this tent, we can recruit Centurions. So you can pause here and read through this, but effectively what this is saying is that each commander has different traits, which, as well as a command specialization, which will impact their ability based off the battle they're leading the Legion in. So, long story short, we're going to want to have different types of Centurions ready to go based off the different scenarios we're going to need them in. So, for the purposes of this video, we are going to go ahead and hire all four of them. Now, as we look at this, cavalry specialization, we have logistics specialization, we have infantry specialization, and we have artillery specializations. I would not worry about these specializations early on. I would just hire a bunch of them, all four of them, if possible, and then you can pick them to use later on. You can see here, please, hesitant, indifferent, indifferent. Based off these character traits and how they're going to view us, that will impact how they feel about us. And that's very important because that will also modify how they perform in Legion combat, which we're going to see here in a few short minutes. The other thing we can do while we're here is replenish our troops. So this costs money. You can see here the number of troops based off the denarii we have. I'm going to go ahead and spend a lot just to replenish them to get them back into fighting shape. They can go up to 4,800 total. And then again, you can kind of see the stats of our different teams, and then you can see the commander traits we have available. Ideally, we're going to want one of each, and we're going to want all of them to be pleased with us, if not loyal to us. That can be difficult because everyone has different personality traits. All right. Um, nope. I do not want to dismiss this
And we're a
character. I wanted to
little
leave.
bruised after the agreed.
All right. So, now that we have Centurions, which are important, because they basically are leading our Legion, and they're going to provide different traits, we are going to now deploy our Legion.
Within that city.
If what?
So let's go back to the
You
world
won't
map
have to wait long. The higher ups are.
and deploy our Legion. Now we are going to need to deploy our Legion to secure key resources. So I talked about this in a different video, but here we're going to close this. If we go to Outpost Management, we're just going to click this off, and upgrades, I'll click this off. There are four resources: lumber mill, farm, tannery, and iron mines. We need these resources to do upgrades for our Legion, which allow them to perform better, and also produce different things we're going to use, such as tactical items like pylum or bandages. To produce these resources on the map, we're going to take a slight detour here, if it will let me. Will let me head over there? Let me see if it'll let me head over here. Well, now let me head over here. But basically, they're lumber yards, hunting grounds, or farms. We will need to dispatch the Legion to secure those areas. In this example, we are going to dispatch our Legion to attack Mytilene, the garrison. So we can see the time it'll take. We'll see the minimum manpower required. We have our morale, army experience, and stats, and the enemy army strength. So we are much stronger than them, which is a good thing. And we are going to have them march. So it'll take time. We saw an hour and 26 minutes to get there. And then we are now in Legion combat. Okay, So you can read up here, we need to choose our centurion. I'll review this, so I'm going to turn this off. When we are picking our centurion to lead our legion, there are different factors we're going to want to look at, which that overview is highlighting. The first is success chance, which is the success of battle. Luckily, we're 100% given that we have almost 3 times the strength. That's a good thing. Next is survival chance. This is survival chance of our centurion surviving. So basically, we can lose these leaders in combat. Manpower retained going to the right is better because that means we retain more men. To the left is worse. The loot amount determines how much loot that we will receive. The right is better, and the band shows us where it could fall. And finally, insubordination risk. This is basically their opinion of us. So in this case, it is very clear that we want Calavius, who is our infantry specialization, to lead the charge. Because he has 0 insubordination risk, so 0 risk of him leaving us. He has the best loot amount, which is good. Then pretty good manpower retained, maybe a little bit less because the band's a little wider, but 100% survival chance and 100% chance to win. So we're going to select him, and he's going to lead our army. Okay, Legion Combat. This is fairly basic in nature, almost kind of like 4X games back in the day. So think endless space with a little more flavor to it. Effectively, we pick stratagems. These have different modifiers throughout the combat that will stack over time, so we want to be cognizant of them. So for example, risk to centurions and risk to the commander, right? We're increasing, like we're decreasing that. This doesn't really matter because right now we have for our commander 0 risk. For our centurions, it was relatively low. So we have to kind of think about how and what we want to pick over time because it stacks. Now, these are randomly drawn, and we can expand our stratagems when we construct a workshop and assign a Praetorian to them. So it basically gives us more options or better options. The strength bar is fairly basic. The needle moves as we attack the enemy and kill them, and vice versa. There is a scatter threshold. We want to reach this threshold, otherwise this army will retreat and reinforce the nearest allied army. So we really want to rout them so they completely scatter and lose all their troops. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and be aggressive and increase player aggression, because we're going to want to get up in there and take them out. Now we can watch the animation, which doesn't give you a lot of good info in my opinion. So I like to proceed and click through it, or you could auto-resolve. So now we have our next phase of the battle, phase 2, where we're going to have to make our next decision. We're going to reduce the enemy manpower because we want to get them to that scatter threshold, and we're going to auto-resolve that, and we're very close. So they're going to probably break. We are going to take a hit. And it looks like we haven't hit their threshold, so we're going to reduce their enemy manpower as a retreat. And we have successfully conquered them. So we're going to click through this. So the debrief chart. On the right, we have the battle outcome. We occupied the region, we gained slaves, we gained denarii, and we fully destroyed the enemy force because we killed them past their scatter point, so they can't run away and reinforce the enemy, which is good. Over here, we see our centurion status. If they die, it will be very evident and sad. Down here, we see our legion. We lost 804, which is a lot. so I probably would play this differently if this wasn't an example video. We lost, we had negative 20 morale, so that didn't change. It stayed the same, and our army experience stayed the same, unfortunately. We had 3 attacks and defenses, so you can kind of see the give and take, and then we can see the stratagems used. This I need to better understand, but effectively we could see when we're on the offensive or defensive, and when it was successful or not successful. So the reason we lost so many is that you see these X's, that means we didn't do a good job. Alright, so now we have the garrison, and now we can go visit our garrison to talk to people, interact with objects that we built. Outpost management, we already looked at this. We're going to want to upgrade different things as we move forward. One of the things that we're going to want to do is focus on the speculatory tent, because this will replenish tactical items like pylum, as well as bandages, and we're going to want to use a lot of them. So that is Legion combat. It is basic, but there's a lot that goes into it. You know, your centurions, upgrading your Legion, making sure you have the manpower fighting at full strength, and then where to deploy them, right? We're going to have to strategically deploy them, and I'm kind of curious now, because it still won't let us go over here yet, unfortunately. But there are things and locations we're going to need to secure, so we're going to have to move our Legion as well as our party independently, which gives this a really nice feel from a grand strategy perspective. Hopefully you found this content helpful. This is Legion Combat in Expeditions Rome. This game does release on January 20th, 2022. I will be doing a playthrough. If you are interested in watching that, please comment. You can help direct my content. And as always, if you found this content helpful, please consider dropping a thumbs up. And if you are interested in supporting the channel, I always appreciate a subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you in future videos. Shadow Coast out.